Right, I've had my fun now. Now it's time for you guys to have some fun. I want to answer your questions. Again, this was a super popular bike for Instagram questions, and I'll get straight to it. Now, the first one is from Andrew D3. I think that's your name. Does it make the V4 a bit pointless, especially in the UK? It's difficult to say, but I would imagine this is going to be a far better road bike. You can open the throttle. You don't have to be doing 120, 130 mile an hour to have fun. It's going to be easy on the road. It's going to be more fun on the road than the V4, I say. I mean, look, the V4, you ride the V4 on the road for 10 minutes and you could either end up in a hedge or end up in jail. So, I mean, look, there's definitely a place. There's definitely a place. And for the willy wavers out there, I don't blame you. I'd buy a V4 over this all day if I was riding track and road. So, in many ways, back to the original question, many ways, yes, I think it is a bit pointless. But for those of you who love horsepower and ripping your foreskin back, then yeah, I definitely have the V4. Glenn Zarich, I think that's how you pronounce your name. Does it deserve its place in Supersport? Absolutely. I think Glenn and other people and the internet in general, you have to really appreciate what this new generation Supersport category is like and will be. You know, in a few years' time, I hate to say it, but I don't think there will be R6s and well, there isn't an R6 anymore, but there won't be any more R6s. There won't be inline 4 600s. It will all be kind of bigger capacity, middleweight, you know, not conforming to a capacity range, not conforming to racing regulations. You can build a bike around the 120 horsepower like Ducati have, and you can go race it. So it definitely does deserve its place in Supersport, and we'll find that out in a few months' time when it's lining up again in the World Supersport grid. Miguel Ferreira _5. Is there enough RPM? If you watch the main video, you might appreciate that I would like a little bit more at the top end. The engine is so good everywhere else, everywhere. It punches low, it punches in the mid-range, it keeps going, but right at the top it tails off. And if you're on track, I probably wouldn't be saying it if we were riding on the road. In fact, I can almost guarantee you I wouldn't be saying it if we're riding on the road. But because we're on track, it's a fast track, and you're always chasing that red line. Like I said on the vlog cam in the main video, you can't have perfection. An engine cannot be perfect. I don't care what you say. There's not an engine on this planet that is perfect. And with all the mid-range and the bottom end and the usability, there has to be a little bit of a sacrifice. And I'm guessing that's where Ducati thought would be best. But look, it still revs. You know, I'm just saying that there could be a little bit more at the top end. Desert Rider 45. In your opinion, have Ducati gone in the wrong direction with this? No. I think they've gone in a direction that suits racing and the buyer's market. So if you think about it, again, I'm not sure if I mentioned this in the main video, but the way that the World Supersport and Supersport regs in general are going, this is the future. Bikes like this are around 120 horsepower. This is the future, or certainly in the next, you know, immediate future. They've built a bike to go racing, but also built a bike to cope with new people riding. I mean, I put my gran on this if she was still alive. I put my gran on this. It's so easy. It's still fun enough for more experienced riders. It's fast enough, it's capable enough for more experienced riders. But it's also, you could put a novice on this and it wouldn't scare them and it wouldn't put them off riding on track. So they've chosen the direction that I think was chosen for them, if that makes sense. These new Supersport regs, like it or not, that's just the way it is. That's the way of the world. I'm Justin T. You enjoyed the V2 a little bit more than the V4 last year in the south of France. This feels similar. I mean, it doesn't feel similar. If you look at the chassis, or if you understand the chassis, it's not far off. Of course, it's got the twin-sided swing arm. It's got 30mm longer wheelbase, but the rest of the chassis is almost identical in terms of rake and trail and the steering angle and everything else. So it's bizarre just how different it feels. The ergonomics make a massive difference, but yes, it all contributes to being a better road bike. And the big thing though is, I can tell you this now, it will struggle to keep up with the V4 on the road. You know, the V2, the previous V2, had enough go, had enough top end that you didn't struggle too much. There wasn't that many areas that you go, oh yeah, I'm gonna the V4 would bugger off, but with this, the V4 will definitely bugger off. I can tell you that now. Chops and Snags asks, better than the last year's V2? I mean, look, define better. If you want a faster bike, if you want, I don't know, the lap time will be similar just because of how much time this makes up in the twisty bits. It's insane just how much, just the agility and the way it holds a line, the way you can get tighter, changes direction. I mean, it will annihilate the previous bike in the last sector of this circuit, just because of what you're asking it to do. But then again, if you want more power and you want a bike, because it does feel a little bit small bike, although it's a big bike, it's, you know, the ergonomics aren't, it doesn't make you feel like you're riding a Sparrow limb shitter, but it does feel like a slightly smaller bike than the previous V2, and I guess that's ergonomics and the fact that it's less power. So define better. I mean, if you want a newer bike with this engine is fantastic, and you know, if you're not worried too much about top end power, then I'd have this. 750 Kawasaki. How much heat? Now, Ducati were very quick to tell us they put a lot of effort into the thermal flow and getting heat away from your gonads. And look, it's been late teens, early 20s here today, and I couldn't feel a thing. My balls weren't boiling in a bag like a set of boiling in a bag potatoes. So I cannot give you a definitive answer on that. Would have to ride in the heat, in a town, etc., etc. But from what I'm hearing and from what I felt today, it will be a noticeable step and a noticeable improvement in heat dissipation. Andrew Woo 100. Compared to the old V2, do you feel the nimbleness makes up for the lost horsepower? Absolutely. I mean, as I mentioned before in the main video, I'm struggling to think of a bike that is this agile and doesn't sacrifice, isn't compromised in a corner. And I mean that, going from braking to the other side, the exit apex. In road form, I can't think of another bike that would do just as good a job as this. So yes, it's massively missing power on the straight, and I think this is the big thing to kind of get across, is that you will, people want, used to big power super bikes, or they want that big power, they want the rush, they want to do power wheelies everywhere. Of course, they won't enjoy this as much, and they'll probably find it frustrating. But it definitely makes up for the lost horsepower. Dylan X Ross, can it wheelie in sixth? Absolutely no chance. I mean, you can clutch it up in second and change gear to third, fourth, but yeah, I only got to fourth down this straight. Hal _ dog 46. How hardcore is it? Does it have real world usability? Kind of two questions in one there, but it's not, I wouldn't say it's hardcore. It's, in fact, the engine is exciting. It puts a smile on your face, and riding it fast. If you couldn't tell already, I had an absolute riot today, particularly that last session with Chris and Zach, absolutely tearing chunks out of each other. And you can, as I said, you cannot do that on 1,000. You cannot do that with 200 horsepower. So on the flip side, it's not hardcore. Absolutely not. There's no hardcore about it. It's designed for a purpose. It's designed to cater for, which is bizarre, two ends of the spectrum. It's designed for newer riders, attracting other riders into the Ducati brand perhaps, that don't want 160 horsepower or 200 horsepower like the previous V2 and the V4. But it's also there for racing. So no, it's definitely not hardcore. Does it have real world usability? Again, I mentioned this before. Yes, 100%. Instacol38, are the clip-ons set up much higher than usual? They look high in those pics versus usual Ducati superbikes. They are, but I can tell you, the ergonomics play a major part in this. Comfort, making you feel at home on track, not wearing you out, is a massive deal. And there's a lot of effort. Then it's not just been designed like this to be comfortable. It's designed like this to make things easier on track. And if you look at MotoGP bikes now, you look at how high the bars are. You look at how high they are compared to the rider in the seat. That's exactly the same reason. Of course, it's not an outright hardcore chasing temps superbike this, but it's still a sports bike designed for track in mind and to go racing. So, in answer to the question, that they are quite high, but that doesn't detract from anything. If anything, it makes things easier on track, less fatiguing. So. I'm not sure what the point of that question was. Oh yeah, are they high? Yes, they are quite high, but it's not an issue. David Ol 447, V2 R9 and 990 RCR shootout. Absolutely, I cannot wait for this. This is going to be, I can't think of a superlative that does it any justice. I'm looking forward to this, and yeah, we're gonna have to find a suitable track. Matty Lightfoot, is it halfway between the old V2 and the SuperSport? I guess it is. I guess Matty, you summed it up perfectly there. But I don't want you to, you know, people who are kind of poo-poo the SuperSport. I'm talking about the Ducati SuperSport, you know, the current model, because that is quite orthopedic and it is quite kind of old man, and it is nowhere near as good as this on track. So, but it's a good halfway house between the two. But yeah, well done, Matty, like that. Do you want a job? Kevbike 272, how does the horn sound? Yeah, Kev. Right, thanks for watching, guys. I'm gonna leave you to it because there's people behind me getting eggy, so cheers, bye.